I got a full house today. It's because Kim's here. They all want to hear from her. We're very excitable. Let me get the agenda in the chat and then Michelle, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you are somewhere nice and cool.
Hey.
Sorry, that was my husband. Let's just go around and do a quick icebreaker. I'm going to say I'm Michelle Myers. I'm the chair of the Blue Horizons Community Council. My pronouns are she, hers. I want to acknowledge that we are on the historic lands of the Cherokee people. And, summer is in full swing, and maybe we should just share that what's something we're doing this summer that we're excited about. So my garden is looking better than it has ever looked. I have tomatoes on that are already this big, and I'm super excited about it. And I'll look for a volunteer to go next.
Jump in. Hey, everybody. Maggie here. Pronouns she, her. Summertime. Just got back from a family vacation for my parents' 50th anniversary, which was just really, really special. And it was away, so I'm just glad to be home. And I just can't wait to jump into our rivers. I really love spending time in the water and boating here in the summertime. So that's on my list. Who's up?
I'll go. I'm Dave Erb, and I'm really happy to be home after a bunch of really fun things. I've been to a family reunion, a 50-year high school reunion, and a week of music camp with my all-time favorite mandolin player as the teacher. And I'm worn out, which is a good thing.
Hey, I'll go. Seth Little here, I guess chair of the engagement committee in a new role as well. And the thing that I'm excited about this summer and right now is by way of land acknowledgement that I'm actually coming to you from the land of the Kanaka Malloy in beautiful sunny Hawaii with my family, making some memories. Excited to be here, but excited to be back in a little bit of Asheville for the moment.
I'll jump in. I'm Clary, she, her pronouns. Also just got back from vacation, just left Vermont. So I don't know if folks are seeing kind of the crazy climate things that are happening up there. Flooding, smoke, all kinds of craziness.
I'm Jimmy Wine, he, him. I work for Greenbelt, and y'all know me. I'm excited about it not being as hot as in New Orleans.
Hey there, this is Keith Bamberger. I'm on the community council, and I'm coming from you on my phone in the middle of an education workshop, which is what I'm going to be doing for the next few weeks in lots of different ways. And that's good.
Hi, this is Micah Kraus, she, her, and I am excited about a big trip we have coming up for a family reunion in Michigan. So it's been a great summer so far.
Hi, my name is Rocky, Rakesh Sridhar, he, him. I'm making a lot of travel plans this summer, just booked flights to New Zealand for Thanksgiving and hoping to prolong my summer by going into the Southern Hemisphere when it gets cold down here. So thank you.
Are there any other BHP members or, Summer, Dave, Sam, feel free to, it's an all play.
I'm happy to jump in then. My name is Dave Gordon. My pronouns are he, him. I'm in the beautiful weather of California still. And we just had some neighbors bring over some squash from their garden, which I was really excited about. And coming up here pretty quick. Starting this weekend, I'm going to help my brother put in a new floor because they very badly need it. So I'm happy to be helping him out as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Summer, also working for Greenbelt. I might go to the beach this month. My parents are going and gave an open invitation, so I might be excited about that, but I also might not want to drive 6 hours and then we'll just hang out here. So either way, it's going to be good.
Sam Ruark here with Greenbelt, and within the next 2 to 4 weeks, we will be welcoming into our lives, home, family, a new baby. So, going to be having a baby soon.
That's a bigger tomato.
Yeah, no one can beat that. That's a big one.
Congratulations, Sam. That's awesome.
Thank you.
All right. I do know that we have a change to the agenda. We were going to talk about Green Source Advantage, and that's really a program that Ben, who's not able to be here today, was excited about championing. And I think we're going to have to table that conversation again, unless others really want to have it. The reason why it's important is because we were considering, we deprioritized it in the strategic plan as not one of the core initiatives that we're going to pursue. And I think there was a concept that maybe we should pursue it as part of our commercial and industrial outreach. So I'm gonna propose that we remove it from the agenda because Ben's not here to talk about it unless others feel strongly that they want to have that conversation and feel like they have a base of knowledge that they can share with the group. And I know that Sam also wanted to, there's been some updates on funding for the Blue Horizons project at Greenbelt Alliance. And I know Sam wanted to add that to the agenda, and I'm not seeing that on the agenda that was posted in the chat. So maybe we can move that to the new business section. Does that sound right, Sam? And I did see just some financials you're going to share that on your screen, or did you want to put that in the agenda?
It's linked in the agenda and the staff report. I can present it if you'd like.
In the staff report. Great. I didn't open that link. That's great. Thanks, Jamie. That'll work. Okay, so I do need a timekeeper for the meeting if someone would be willing to keep us on track here. Don't all jump up at once.
I can do it.
Rocky, thank you. I appreciate your service, my friend. And so since we're not just going to have written staff reports then, Jamie, is that right? You want to have some time on the agenda for that, right?
The other reports are kind of rote, but there's a section on the first to second page that has kind of an outline of the funding changes. And yeah, I think we can talk about that.
Okay. Why don't we do Kim's presentation first and move it? We'll just do that section after, if that's okay.
I like that idea.
Okay, very good. Before we get on to our guest presenter, and I'm going to ask you how to say it. Is it Niekirk? Van Niekirk, is that right? Kimberly? Well, before we get on to Kimberly's presentation.
Yes, you got it.
Oh, wonderful, great.
Van Niekirk.
Perfect. Can I just have a motion to approve the minutes or any amendments to the June meeting minutes?
Make a motion to approve the June meeting minutes.
Second.
Wonderful. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstentions? Any nays? All right. Thank you for that. And without further ado, we're going to hear from Kimberly Van Niekirk with Waste Reduction Partners.
Great. Thank you. Okay, there's the presentation. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much. As Michelle mentioned, my name is Kimberly Van Niekirk. I am the relatively new energy program manager with Waste Reduction Partners. Can everyone hear me? Is that all right? Okay, great. So yeah, I'm relatively new. I started in the beginning of April. So yeah, I'm taking over from Russ Jordan, if you guys remember him. He's going to still be part of our assessor group, our assessor team. So we're very excited that he's staying on with us. And then I'm just taking over the program management section for the energy group. So maybe you could just give me the next slide, please. Great. Okay. Actually, before I wanted to go through this, I just wanted to say thank you very much for the invitation. It's great to be talking with you guys and to be continuing to liaison with you. I met Jamie almost like the week I started. So, so it's great to be talking to you guys and great to be liaising with you and moving forward on these various initiatives. So what is Waste Reduction Partners? We are a team of, as you see there, experienced engineers and scientists. It's an all volunteer team. And we're providing commercial, industrial businesses and institutions such as schools and schools and institutions like that with on-site consulting and guidance in basically 3 areas. It's energy efficiency, solid waste, and water. And we're providing consulting services. Our mission is basically to help businesses and institutions and commercial entities with these in these areas, in energy, water, and solid waste reduction, and then pollution prevention. So we are so we're helping in these various areas to reduce environmental impact through all sorts of efficiency techniques, which basically save money, but then you'll see it also feeds into areas like emissions reduction, which is obviously near and dear to all of us. And then you have some other information there. It's non-regulatory. The assessments that we provide, the energy assessments, are provided at no cost to the client, obviously confidential, and you can see this is a partnership between local, state, and federal agencies. I work out of the Land of Sky Regional Council on New Leicester Highway here in Asheville. Yeah, and it's an old, fairly old group. We've been around for a while, since 1992, and the partnership since 2000 itself. Okay, you can next slide, please. And that's our team. You can see a lot of our, as I said, retirees. Terry Albrecht, who's heading the group, is on the extreme right there. Yeah, you can go on to the next slide. Okay, so these are our basic services in the 4 areas, well, 3 areas, and then pollution prevention. It kind of encompasses all of it. I'm, as I said, I'm the energy program manager working in that upper left red area. And we are, as I said, providing energy assessments where we basically look at, we do a site visit basically in commercial and industrial entities. And there we will look to see, various ways they can, reduce energy consumption and thereby save money and by extension emissions. So anything from their HVAC systems, their lighting, their chillers, their air compressors, anything you can think of. And we often go in and we find, a whole list of things that we can, that the company can change or update or implement, put into practice, which will reduce their energy consumption. Now, we are moving into an area too where we're tracking carbon emissions. I'll tell you a little case story about what yesterday I was in Raleigh and we were at a site visit, and I can tell you a little bit more about that in just a second. And then you see just the water and the waste reduction areas. We're doing similar things, assessments, site visits, waste sorting, all sorts of things like that, all sorts of activities to help, as I said, to help clients reduce. Okay, you can go to the next slide, please. Those are some of our clients that we're working with now. You see, it's quite a huge group. We're sort of all over the place. So we get referrals from various sources, including Greenbuilt, and thank you very much for your help there. So we get a lot of referrals from various places coming in through the website or coming in through the state organizations. And you can see all the clients that we're working with at the moment. It's quite a lot of work, but it's quite a lot of fun sending, I'm involved in organizing sending the assessors out to do their work. And then as I said, we get these ECMs, energy conservation measures, And then we have a roughly 50 to 60% implementation rate. So it's quite, people are putting the recommendations into practice. And then a year later, we follow up and we do another one to see where, what they've done, what they can still do, and we go forward that way. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is just some of the things from 2022, just to give you an idea of what we've done in that year, and it's only gotten bigger. This year it's getting bigger already. So 124 clients, 41 counties we've serviced in North Carolina. Those are the service hours that we've put in. And then you see this nice metric, 21,000 metric tons of carbon that have been reduced. And then you see what we've done in the last 5 years. So it's we've got some pretty nice numbers here in terms of what we've done in water and solid waste, and then savings, the client utility savings over these numbers, quite interesting. And then just to give you an idea, yesterday I was at a site visit in Raleigh, or actually in Goldsboro, but we were obviously we had other meetings in Raleigh, and there, that client is doing now carbon accounting. So we were helping them with that. And actually then we're taking it one step further and walking the client through, after we did the carbon accounting, we are now walking the client through what type of strategies to implement in terms of getting them to their goals. Now their goals they've set their goals through ISO 14000. So we're helping them not only do the carbon accounting, but also, how they might get to their goals using these energy conservation measures. And it's quite interesting, the numbers there, because you often find that you can get a direct, obviously if you can get an energy reduction figure, you can also translate that into carbon reduction, and it ends up getting them right to their goal. It's very interesting. So that's the type of work we're doing. Can I have the next slide, please? Let me just make sure I don't have anything else. Oh, okay, sorry, that's solid waste. So yeah, so that's, I'm not going to go through the rest of it because that's basically what makes sense to do in 5 minutes. So I can take any questions from anyone. I hope that was 5 minutes. Oh, okay, pretty good.
We are at the 10-minute limit, but yeah.
What do you see as some of the biggest things coming up? Like what you're fresh eyes, right? Relatively new into the program since April. So welcome, glad to have you contributing. And this is a really well-established program that has a lot of momentum and has been. And with your kind of newer eyes, but now a couple months in, like, what do you see on the horizon that's pretty exciting about the program, or that you're kind of personally pumped about?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, I have spent my whole life my whole career in renewables and energy efficiency. So it's new eyes here, but it's not new eyes from that standpoint.
Yeah.
But I am obviously very excited to be putting my skills to work here. But yes, in terms of the new trends, we are seeing a lot of pressure, which I had seen before, but it's now coming stronger from, like, for instance, this client I was working with yesterday. They're getting pressure from not only their suppliers, but also the downstream, like where they're producing certain goods, and which they're selling to they're actually it's in automotive, so they're selling to the big car companies, and then so they're getting supplier questionnaires from their suppliers, and they're getting demands from the OEMs that they're selling to in terms of carbon reduction. So one of the OEMs has already put in place a target: you have to reduce by 3% per year. So they already have that as something that's obligatory. They need to meet that, and they have like no idea how to do that. So basically, they're and then from the other side, they're getting these supplier questionnaires, like to tell them how much the emissions they're coming out of, all every single little line item that they do there in that plant. So it's actually quite a lot of work for usually the EH&S guy or the or the, well, yes, financial director in a way, but it's mainly the EH&S or the sustainability manager. We're seeing pressure from all of these people. They're calling us up and they say, we need to do this, there's a goal, and we don't know how to do it. So, I mean, so it's interesting also to take the integrated approach so that it's not just, oh, throw on a solar, a solar array in the renewables area, or it's not just, okay, change your lighting on the energy efficiency side. What I'm liking about this program is that we're combining both energy efficiency and potential renewables. Now, obviously, on-site generation of renewables now could be, we don't know what's going to happen with that, given that Duke itself is moving towards renewables, so you'll be able to buy renewables energy anyway. But in terms of just like how you would get to those goals, they're stressed. I mean, they are really stressed and they need the help. So from this way, we can go at it from a combined approach of both energy efficiency, these energy conservation measures that our team comes up with, and also the renewable side. So it's fantastic. So we have actually we have a state energy contract which just does energy efficiency, but we also have another contract now that does carbon management. So we're moving into much larger clients that need help with this in this area. So, and then, as I said, we're translating our energy efficiency goals right into what it would translate into in terms of emissions reductions. And that's a great package to be able to give to a client. They're really, really happy to get the help. They just enormously need the help. And that's the trend we're seeing. And oh, sorry, one more thing is coming out of the IRA, there's obviously incentives. And we also bring that sort of piece of the story to them too, in terms of incentives. I'm also working with rural energy in the rural energy area, and those guys are dealing with the rural energy, what's it called, Rural Energy America program, the REAP program. So we're also running that program and helping them with their applications. For that program, they need an energy assessment as well. So, and then they often ask us about the renewable pieces as well. So it's very nice to be able to be bringing this kind of integrated approach to them. But they're stressed. I mean, they need help, very stressed.
Kimberly, thank you so much. This is a piece of the puzzle we've been noodling on for a while, and you provide exactly the services that we need to be able to get to our partners, our industrial and commercial partners here in Buncombe County.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
How would you suggest we partner with you, or what kind of pipeline can we create for clients for you? What would be the most useful way for us to work together is my question. And then Brad, I see that you have your hand raised as well.
Sure, no problem. Thank you for that. I mean, I think we already are working fairly well together. We've gotten referrals from you before, and it would be great to just keep getting those referrals. And what you might tell the clients is that we would normally send them what we call a pre-assessment survey, which basically just is a very quick thing that they can fill out. Really, all we need is a year's worth of utility data. That shouldn't be difficult. If it is difficult, we can help them call Duke and get it, or whatever their service provider or their utility is. That's all we need. They can fill out more of the survey, but really all we need is utility data. And you can just send them over to me, and I can just call them and say, this is what we need. We send them the pre-assessment survey, they send it back to us, and then we're off and running. Because then I can get an assessor in there within the week. It's very quick. Our guys just go out, they spend not even half a day they spend there, just a couple hours. And then they write a very quick report, and there we have these energy conservation measures, which again, translating directly into emission reductions. It's really fantastic, quite streamlined.
Wonderful. Brad?
Thanks for giving the presentation, Kimberly. And I was very impressed with my church, Grace Episcopal.
Oh, you're one of the churches, yes.
Yeah, we had you guys out and
fantastic.
Made some great suggestions, and I know we're going to follow up on all of those, and we did get a 20+ kilowatt solar array as part of it. But my question really is, you know, one of the things that we've identified in our strategic plan is the importance of electrification. That our goal is not carbon reduction per se, it's 100% renewable energy. And the only way to do that is basically to electrify everything and then have the grid satisfied with renewable energy. I mean, that's the major way to do things. And how much are you guys focusing at this point? I mean, I know your background is energy efficiency and not electrification as kind of a core component. Are you having any new initiatives in that area? Is that, I mean, I'm sure it comes up because, you know, people can always replace a gas boiler with a heat pump. But where does electrification fit in what you're doing at this point?
Well, I mean, that's always going to be part of our recommendations. I mean, it's going to be, the electrification is going to be part of it. And you know, it depends. Some of the clients want to have, you know, on-site renewable energy. By the way, my background is renewables. The rest of my team does energy efficiency. But they're going to be wanting, some of them are going to be wanting on-site renewables, and some of them, frankly, would prefer not to have it on site and to just buy, you know, renewable energy, like the REITs. That, you know, you can go the REIT way where you would buy REITs, or you can go another way is just wait for Duke to get its own house in order in terms of renewables, and then you'd be buying renewable energy eventually anyway. So it's really depending on what your time frame is in terms of electrification, you know, renewable energy. So yeah, it's and again, reduction first through energy efficiency. So yeah, I mean, it really depends on what everyone's interested in. There's a variety of ways to go with it. And as I said, there are things coming out of the IRA, President Biden's IRA, which provides incentives, and it provides also incentives to put in place new and innovative technology that will actually is more efficient from the start, and therefore producing less emissions. So there's a variety of ways of going, is what I'm saying. But some people then also want, like you guys wanted the array there, which is great, which is, you know, gets you part of the way there. And then, you know, if they're goals, then you slowly move toward meeting these goals. And that's what we like to see. We're doing a lot of work with the different churches, the different congregations, which is great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. I think your contact information, Jamie already has it, I know. So I hope that we continue to work together, and yeah, I think really happy to have you and to learn more about the services you offer.
Thank you. I'm just really happy to thank you again for inviting me to speak. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's a great program, and I think the partnership is very nice with you guys. I'm also in touch with Ben, of course, also on the GSA work. So it's very it's nice to be partners with you guys.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you're welcome to stay, but you're also free to go.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Jamie, do you want to pull out some items from the staff report and to highlight for the group?
Yes. Let me share my screen, and I can send you all the link as well if you'd like the link. It's linked in the agenda. But I'm going to kick it over to Sam, because the first few items here are written repos for welcome to read, but we thought we should have a conversation about funding.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. So in June, the city and county sustainability offices released their RFP to continue doing the work of Blue Horizons Project and ESN in the community. And we applied for the RFP and were told that we were selected, which we were grateful for. And then just a couple of days ago, we were informed about the budget for this next year. And there's a significant reduction in the budget. There's basically a 45% reduction from last year and the past 3 years for ESN and BHP for our work in the community. So that's basically $89,000 reduction. So we're in the process right now of trying to figure out, like, how are we going to navigate that to keep the momentum we have going, to ensure that we can continue to do the weatherization work for low-income families and also do the community engagement work of BHP. So we have been in touch with our folks with ARPA that fund HVAC and PV systems for low-income families. There is a possibility we could potentially move some of that money at the ESN in order to be able to like keep ESN whole and moving forward without having to cut staff and efforts in that program. So we're in that process right now as a kind of backfill. And then, you know, with BHP, we're trying to determine like, how do we make up this difference? Because it's significant. And so, you know, the main cut we see at this point being community engagement, activities, you know, events, things like that. So we are going to be applying for some of this IRA grants. We actually have the Buildings Up Prize is due Monday. We've got the application completed and we're ready to submit it in the next couple of days. So that's positive, but that's for ESN activities. There's a couple other grant possibilities as well. Most of them are for things kind of related to the strategic plan, like PV projects or heat pump water heater retrofits, that sort of stuff. But the BHP and the BHPCC budget is shrinking currently. So we're just here to sort of inform you of that and to, I don't know if we want to do it today, but essentially open it up to, you know, reflections or ideas about how do we, you know, generate more funding for BHP. We've tried sponsorship, we've tried donations, we've tried grants. Throughout the past 5 years, we've run BHP, and we haven't been very, you know, successful in receiving funding from those sources. So we've been kind of relying on city and county funding. So with this reduction, we're sort of, you know, trying to figure out how do we make it work. So that's my update on the funding piece.
I think we do have a little space in the agenda with the removal of the GSA. If we want, people may have some insight into the Solar for All. I don't know if anyone has any insight into energy futures as potential grant opportunities. I did just sit in on the EPA webinar for Solar for All, and the lowest end of the grants there are going to be like $25 million. And they are expecting to reach 10,000 households or so with those grant funds. The notice of intent to apply is, you know, the end of the month. So I think it also says that the nonprofit partners that are supposed to be applying are there's greater definition that's available in like the source material. It really emphasized that those are the financing partners are nonprofit. So those offering income assistance is the way they suggested. And I was trying to think if neighbor to neighbor would, if you're giving away free, then that's income assistance, right? So I'm not sure if that, but we have to look at the definitions there to make sure that GBA is even eligible to be a partner or, you know, or to be the lead applicant. It might also have to be municipalities, including counties or COGs, are able to apply. Land of Sky might actually want to consider applying. And then, you know, there are sub-awardees that might be really, you know, the neighbor to neighbor program might be quite a appealing sub-awardee to a larger application. I don't know if we could do 10,000 households in Buncombe County in a 5-year period. It's a 5-year period. So I don't know. Those are just some thoughts. I literally just stepped off the webinar, so I thought I would share that. And I have that I'm willing to take to share as well.
I'll just say that the Solar for All, I think the minimum is 25 million. And I think that's like 300 PV systems. I think the 10,000 is across like the 7 billion, right? I think there's 7 billion awarded in full for up to 50 different entities. So yeah, or maybe it's, or is it, yeah, we need to figure that out. Maybe it's like 300 per year, I think for 5 years. I think that's what it is. If we go for the 25 million, I think 25 million is the minimum and 400 million is the maximum. But yeah, we need to kind of look into that, what the partnership would look like. What is the capacity of the local solar installer community? We've already started having some of those conversations. because essentially, that's a lot of PV systems, and we don't want to create unnecessary burden on the solar community, but we also want to give plenty of business to the solar community as well. So we have to factor those pieces in. And there might be an opportunity to do a kind of a statewide partnership as well, something, across, with other entities throughout the state. So we're in the kind of early stages of discovering what that might look like.
Wonderful. I know that Jen Weiss is talking to the governor's office about the state applying for funding, but there should still be a notice of intent to apply. Do you need any support in that? Sounds like you got it, actually. You already are there.
We're in process with it. So yeah, I think we're kind of in the partner, we're reaching out, creating relationships to try to figure out who's going to apply and what sort of collaborative effort it might be there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Brad.
I think there are a couple of thoughts, and I think, one of the things we need to do is understand what is the hidden message in this. Because, to me, it seems to be quite abrupt, and hopefully there are reserves to allow us to continue. But, that kind of reduction is very severe in my mind when we're talking about needing to expand ESN and to expand community engagement and expand what we're doing with the community council. We need some bridge funding of some kind, it seems to me, so that we can continue. I mean, we sort of need to probably, Sam, drop everything and go into emergency mode and figure out how we're going to survive this. That would be my energy savers, I guess. Actually, I didn't realize you had told me about the cut, but you didn't realize that the lion's share of the cut comes out of energy savers. And I understand that the money is going to be repurposed by the city and county into one of our initiatives that that has a high ranking. So you might want to hear. I'd like to hear from the county what the plans are in terms of the pursuit of that initiative. And in our strategic plan, we probably need to move that initiative from lead to support in terms of what we do. And I know there's some people probably on the call who could speak to that. I don't know if they want to or not, but would love to hear that.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. I think that we can speak on that more accurately and at the next meeting. We're still working on contract negotiations, so we don't have too much to share right now.
I think what we can add, if you don't mind if I jump in, this is Bridget Herring from the city of Asheville, is that the county did approve additional funding to create a loan loss reserve fund in partnership with the North Carolina Clean Energy Fund to bring access to financing for some of these technologies that have been highlighted in the strategic plan. And so part of the reason we've come to this is that needs additional programming support. And then also seeing the additional funds that GBA was able to secure through Dogwood Health Trust and the ARPA funds from the city and county felt, this is a good time to try and expand to meet this opportunity that we have right now to expand the work of BHP. And I'm hoping that BHPCC and GBA is going to be a thought partner in how that kind of rolls out and unfolds. But recognizing that we need to expand our programming beyond Energy Savers Network to meet our goal.
Thank you both. That's really insightful. I feel the need to disclose that I'm doing contract work with Solar Crowdsource, which was awarded the other portion of the grant that we're discussing. I was not part of applying for those grant funds. I only started 3 weeks ago, and I'm working to support solar campaigns in the Triangle, Georgia, and Tulsa, Oklahoma. So really not doing anything local at the moment. And I'm not part of the conversations with the city and the county, but I wanted to make that public. Does anybody have any other thoughts or questions?
I guess I'll jump in. A couple thoughts. One being, I think the city and the county was like kind of the nexus of birthing the Blue Horizons project. And so I don't see a change in that from the decisions that are being made around these contracts. I think that, as Brad was saying, with this new strategic plan, we just have even more need, plan aside or not, to do more and more work in the community with more and more partners. I think particularly around the community engagement, where Sam, you're mentioning a lot of the resource reduction here would hit community engagement. I think it's a really important time to do a fresh look at what the best practices for community engagement around the country. And that I think strategic plans are just a really nice time to reinvigorate and reinvent and bring new ideas to the table that can kind of get folks motivated and excited around ideas. And so even if there's this reduction at this point in time, I think stepping back, instead of just saying, let's do the same thing again next year at the same budget amount, really saying, all right, what is working? What isn't working? What is new? What is fresh? I think that this is an opportunity being presented, even though it's always hard to do under a resource constraint. That's all I'd add.
Okay, well, I think this will be a continued and ongoing conversation. And if there are ways that we can help in fundraising efforts or in applications for the EPA grants, Sam, we are here to help in any way we can. But Rocky has pinged us that we do have to move on in the agenda, unless there's any closing thoughts you have, Sam, or any ideas you want to share.
Yeah, I'll just share that we, we're looking at multiple opportunities to continue to do the work we're doing in the community. And, there are IRA funding opportunities coming, like the Hero X Prize and Solar for All and the DOE Energy Future. So we hope that, this will provide some, shift in staff resources toward those efforts as we perhaps shrink some of our community engagement stuff. So it's sort of unfortunate timing, and maybe it's catalyzing something positive, hopefully. And it will take, as these federal grants take months to put together and find out whether or not we get funded or not. So, trying to access anything locally would be very helpful. So if anyone knows of anything, whether that's private donors or, other funding sources for BHP, please let us know.
And I just want to add something else, is that the city and the county have been funding this work for many years. So Greenbelt Alliance is grateful for that partnership, and this is a change, and sometimes it's difficult to change, but we're excited to be part of it. It's still, it's a moment of time that's really a cool place. It's a cool place to work right now. There's lots of exciting things happening. So we're glad to be part of it.
Okay. I think next, and Dave, are you going to lead the conversation on the strategic plan? How items have been integrated from our last meeting?
Yeah, I'll make it quick, a little presentation that I'm going to share, but yeah, I'll go ahead and lead it, and we can kind of just go from there, if that works for folks. You all see my screen? Cool, actually. Okay, here we go. Now it's coming up. So the short of it is that we've got a whole revamped, new and improved strategic plan. I'm going to, again, try to keep this brief. So, you know, the folks in this meeting provided tons of feedback, which was very valuable, including other community members, subcommittees, volunteers, and then just another big special thanks to Brad Rouse and Kayla Brand, who put a bunch of time and energy and effort into it. Kayla Brand, just in case you all don't know, and Kayla, please correct me if I get any of this wrong, but Kayla is a rock star. She sort of had some great visions in terms of and suggestions in terms of how this could look a lot better. She also is a professor at Georgetown, a writing professor, and was one of the, I think the youngest ever person to join their writing faculty. So she's done this since she was 23. So needless to say, she's really good at what she does. And we were very grateful to have her support in this and cleaning it up and making it the great version that it is now. So what does that look like? Well, it's, as you gave the feedback for, it's much shorter. The main body is down to 46 pages. It's way more concise. There's, you know, we got rid of some repetition. We just kind of tightened it all up. There's a few extra graphics that, you know, came from the feedback from the equity committee. And like I said, we got tons of really great feedback, and we attempted to address most, if not all of it. I think a lot of you got emails from me sort of explaining how we put a lot of that into the plan, and sort of some of the thought process that went into that. So if there are other thoughts that are still out there that you feel like didn't get addressed, or they didn't address, or you didn't get an email from me, feel free to reach out. But I feel like we did a pretty good job of getting a lot of it in there. So one of the big shifts is that instead of, you know, because I feel like there's a lot of confusion and sort of feedback about sort of focusing on these recommended policies. So the new focus is really more the approach, or the process. And part of that process is kind of just taking like this holistic approach. And you all are pretty aware of the big picture holistic approach. We're looking at the three technical pathways of electrification, energy efficiency, and greening the grid. That's like big picture. Bringing it down a step to, you know, what can BHP do? Then we're looking at sort of this holistic approach of initiatives, policy changes, and then community engagement. And those really kind of need to work within each other to help support each other to get the best results. So for policy, keep it short. I won't go into each individual policy, but there's 4 local policies that the policy task force worked on. They're here, they're also in the plan, and just in general, both for local but really also for state and federal, because policy can have such a big impact on how easy we can achieve this goal. Policy advocacy is going to be huge. So BHP can engage in policy advocacy as well. You notice here the wording has changed a little bit for initiatives. So we're not recommending initiatives so much as saying these are the high priority initiatives, and that's basically based on the rankings that we did. But also just want to clarify that these high priority initiatives are really just like a present day snapshot, because inevitably, you know, this is a constantly evolving landscape, new data, technology, all kinds of new stuff's going to come out. Markets are going to change. But for now, present day snapshot, these are kind of the high priority initiatives. And we'll get into those in a sec. There's also a little bit of confusion about like, what can BHP do for these initiatives? So we tried to clarify that a little bit and brought in this idea of the BHP either taking a lead role in an initiative or sort of an active support role. So lead role is basically where there's BHP and staff sort of have the primary responsibility for leading, implementing, you know, figuring out the logistics of how this initiative goes into place and gets implemented. Example of that, ESN, neighbor to neighbor, past example of solarize. So things like that, where BHP and GB have taken the lead. There are lots of initiatives on there where other organizations might already be doing the work or might be better suited to doing that work, such as Waste Reduction Partners or Land of Sky, things like that. So for those initiatives, BHP would be taking sort of an active support. I want to point out a little bit, we're talking about active support, not just support in general, because in theory, we support any and all initiatives that would get us to that goal. But active support is really kind of talking more about, leveraging our resources, using our community engagement, giving referrals, publicizing, using our resources to help support that program in sort of a more active way. Hopefully that kind of clears that up. If you want to see it, I know this one's sort of a doozy, but I thought I'd put it in here. These are all the high priority initiatives, plus some of the ones that are already ongoing. But I just want to point out, you're seeing this left column here, second to the left. This was the one that talks about the BHP role. So there's 7 where BHP would be lead. I think 5 of these are ongoing, and 2 of them are new. Or 4 are ongoing. 1 is solarized, and that's a past lead role, but could be lead in the future when it happens again. And then the other 2 are sort of new. The rest of them are all active support. So that's just sort of a shifting of the way that we look at them and how we can engage in helping push those initiatives forward. Community engagement, as we've talked about, is sort of essential to the success of the plan and the initiatives in general. It's going to amplify it, it's going to support it, it's going to get people excited, get people engaged, provide that personal investment from the community who are really the ones who need to be doing the majority of the work. We can help, we can open the door, but the community itself has to do it. Sorry, we somehow jumped past this one. The other part of that process, kind of going down, we had big picture of the Venn diagram, like the 3 technical pathways. Coming down, we're looking at initiatives, policies, and community engagement. But even more on a more minutia, fine, detailed level, it's like, how are we going to move these things forward? So we came up with this process of the champion model. And again, the emphasis in this plan is shifting towards more of focusing on the process. So what is this championship model? It's basically the idea that anyone can champion an initiative. That can be BHPCC, that can be volunteers, that can be staff. Anyone can champion an initiative. The champion or champions could be a team of folks. If they're volunteers, there would ideally be a staff liaison to help kind of push things forward. But the role of the champion would really be to define the initiative, present the business case to the BHPCC. So like, why is this a good initiative? What kind of impact is it going to have? How would it help us reach our goals? And then they would sort of be in charge of, gathering that data, helping look for funding, et cetera, and really just kind of lobbying inside and outside the BHPCC to move that forward. So in general, they're just kind of being the driving force that's bringing this on and moving it forward, as opposed to relying as heavily on staff to do it all. So that's sort of the championship model, and trying to bring it from big picture down to what we can do. I tried to keep it brief, so I may have missed some things or sped over them quickly. So if there are questions or things that folks want to add, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Dave, if I could just add a little bit to what you said on the couple of things that one major thing that we did is if you recall, we had an initiative area where we didn't have any initiatives, which was the industry and aviation. And we've working with Michelle and I and some others kind of came up with a totally different approach that I think has a lot of merit. And that is that we changed that whole category. We took aviation and said, well, that's really transportation and aviation fuels. And we moved that into the transportation sector as just a potential additional initiative in transportation. And then instead of having industrial processes as an initiative area, we came up with another initiative area that was basically large energy users, with the idea that one of our areas of focus would be not looking at a particular process or a particular idea, but looking at specific businesses or companies or industries that we might partner with, work with, undertake an initiative with for that. So it could be, well, example of that is the work that Peter Moffat's been doing with Deerfield, the work that the tech group did with the trying to get Pratt and Whitney to do something. We might do something with the brewer. I know we've had some work done that we've been looking at with the brewery industry. So there's a whole opportunity to just identify and work with specific industry groups. So that would be one item. I think in the champions model, I think it's an opportunity for us to get new people, recruit new people to be involved in the BHPCC, because the idea would be to say, hey, we'd like you to join the Blue Horizons Project Community Council, or just get involved with the Blue Horizons Project, but we'd really like you to focus on this, on some specific initiative, some specific area that we may know that person has an interest in, or they may identify that they have an interest. And for a lot of people, I know, for example, I've identified one person who's interested in heading up an initiative to mobilize the faith community around some of our low-income work and be involved with our low-income work from the perspective of the faith community, that I don't think he would have been interested overall in joining the council. But when you mentioned that one initiative, yeah, hey, I'm interested in that. So I think that's just my plug for that idea. So that's all. I'll yield the floor.
Yeah, thanks, Brad. Thanks, Brad, and that in there.
I guess just to piggyback on that, I wanted to say, I like the champion model that has been written in here, because it gives an opportunity for greater community involvement and leveraging volunteers outside of just the BHPCC members. So if we think about plugging in, a broader swath of the community in this way, I think it is important that that's written in the plan. So that's what we did.
I think this is really approachable. I know it's a lot of work to get it where it was before, and then it was like a lot of work to turn it from where it was a month ago to where it is now. I know that's not small, and it seems really thoughtfully done. There's something really elegant about trying to look at things from different framings over time, and I think that this type of framing internalize some of the major questions of who does what, how's this going to be done, how are things getting bucketed together. I think that by reframing it answered some of those questions without having to add 10 pages to explain, which is a sign, I think, of thoughtful listening and good synthesis.
Thank you for that.
Rocky has put, is there time for an affirmative consent to the plan in the agenda? Has everyone had a chance to read it in its latest form, to look at it? Sam would really love for us to do that, and I would like to do that for Sam, actually. If we wanted to move this right now, we can. Otherwise, we really want to be clear about a deadline for final input, and then move it to the next meeting for what will hopefully be an adoption of the plan. So this will actually be BHPCC voting that this is the plan that we have all worked on and crafted in our best efforts to move forward with some roadmap for the work. And recognizing there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on any specific initiative, but I think there's been a lot of time put into it, and I think it's doing it's come so far. I'm so proud of the work that you all have done on it. So if there's a motion, we can move it now, or we can say any feedback you want to give at this point will be July 21st. And then the final draft will be out by the end of the month. And then at the next meeting, that will be as an agenda item.
I have a motion to move it forward.
Is there a second?
Second,
Who was it for the minutes? I didn't see
second, Seth.
it. All in, are you ready? Dave, are you ready? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Or I like the party emoji. Party emoji in the chat is fine. Anybody want to abstain from this vote? And anybody who has any questions or thoughts or clarifying sentiments?
I'll just make a note, having gone through processes like this, like I suggest that we have adopted it, and with the understanding that there will likely be some final fine tuning. Like if someone has something that comes up in the next couple of days, that's really not substantive, but just additive for clarity, that like, we don't need to come back and readjust, et cetera. Like there'll be some final ironing out, but so just a technical suggestion. And maybe that's what everyone already thought.
Dave has asked me to do some more footnotes. So
As a condition of this approval, Brad will finish his footnotes. And any no votes, please voice your no's now. Passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Yay!
Now, everybody.
Now we can use it to fundraise. Yay!
Yay!
Good work, everyone.
Seriously.
Great work to you, Dave, for
That was a
being the
lot.
guide and leader and facilitator on this, and Kaylin and Brad and everybody here. So it was a huge effort we've been working on for a whole year. So what a tremendous accomplishment. It is a very unique process to engage so many people so many times for all this input. So really feel grateful for this moment.
Yeah, and thank you all for all the hard work that you've all done. This has been a very collaborative group effort. So you all have been a huge piece of this. So thank you all.
yeah, I'll just say now, hasn't saved any kilowatt hours yet. So now it's time to figure out how we can take the plan and take our actions and use that to accelerate what we're doing in the real world, not just in the plan. But I think it's good to get it done so we can focus on that.
I wanted to ask, and since the policy section was highlighted in particular, Maggie, I know Brownie's not here, but can the policy folks get together soon and kind of map out what it would take to even start the process of running with any of the policy initiatives that we've been discussing?
Like coming up with an advocacy strategy?
Yeah, like who the stakeholders we need to start talking to, and yeah.
And the key timelines, that's always nice because there's cycles of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to send around a doodle for the policy task force that has convened before. If anybody wants to be a part of it, I'll send the doodle to the whole BHPCC, but highlighting the folks that have been participating. All right. I'm so excited. I don't even know what's left. I mean, maybe we're done for today. No, let's see. Oh, we did want to have an update on the Clean Energy Fund. I think Bridget mentioned it, and if there's anything else that we can highlight there.
I know it says Brownie and my name's on there. I don't have any new news on that. I think we were in a pause until budgets were finally adopted, and my understanding, Jackie, is that was approved in the county's budget. If you don't feel on the spot, but
Correct. It was.
And so my guess, jump in, but my guess is now that our budgets get approved and allocated for July 1. So that means staff have like a ton of work to do to figure out like some logistical contractual type of stuff to get moving. That any like programmatic updates might be a minute until we get some of those ducks in a row, is typically how turns of it work. Does that sound like I'm in the right neighborhood, Jackie?
Yeah, lots of like partners and big pieces on this, but work is actively happening.
So in summary, outside of the logistics, is the county has allocated money to fund the loan loss reserve so that we can partner with the Clean Energy Fund. The Clean Energy Fund is pursuing the channels they need to in order to get access to the big federal pots of money. And now that they have funding commitment from us locally to do this pilot, that gives them the skin in the game to go solicit a banking partner for us to do a pilot while we wait for federal money to become available to apply for. So it's a lot of relationship building to navigate what type of partnerships would enable us to do the pilot. But now that the county's skin in the game, that's the real fuel that was needed for the partnership to actually go start like hustling some other stakeholders to be part of, not hustling, but hustling the work to go build those partnerships and really pull together that team. So that's kind of the phase of work that's happening between the partners that are known now.
And Maggie, I'm sorry, I wasn't at the meeting where this first was rolled out. And we get what for that? What is the end result? Like collateral for LMI loans, or what are we?
So the actual loans, financing with favorable terms. The terms will have to be negotiated with whoever the financing partner is. And so it could look like finding an installer partner of heat pumps or solar, or there's a lot of different ways it could go that we partner with, but then also financing. So the end product is at a resident, a single family to 4-unit resident might make a different purchase decision because they have access to a favorable loan, which they currently wouldn't. And what technologies would apply is not finalized. What the rates would be are not finalized. All of that needs to come together through kind of pulling this web of partners together. But the keystone to build upon it was the $100,000 skin in the game from the county to have a loan loss reserve. So a bank can say, great, I'm going to give you this super awesome rate that if someone defaults, you're going to pay me back from this loan loss reserve. So that's the security.
Thanks.
And this will be the first of the state. So with any innovative thing, there's just like a lot of working. And my guess would be the next time that happy to give updates at any point, but the next time there'd be like a substantive update would be when a financing partner is selected and what we know then about kind of the financing agreements. And then also when like the technology, is it heat pumps? Is it solar? Is it multiple? When that type of stuff comes together, and all that's still in play right now.
Thanks, I appreciate that. And does anybody have any questions about the Clean Energy Fund Loan Loss Reserve project? I think it was well explained. Okay, there is a standing item on here about the DEI workshop that we were hoping to host last fiscal year. And just for scheduling purposes, it wasn't able to be done before this fiscal year started. And now I'm just not sure that it's in the budget, but it's still on the agenda. So I'm gonna assess that out publicly.
We're in negotiations for the contract. It's still in play. We'll come back around after we talk to the city and the county.
Great, thank you. We will keep it on the old business until it is finalized. Subcommittee and standing program reports. Is there a transportation report? It's okay if there's not.
I don't have one. And is Keith still on?
I don't see Keith.
We lost him.
Yeah, he was on the phone. That's okay. Communications Committee. Seth is the new chair. Seth, what is going on with community engagement?
Sweet. So just a couple of things, especially given where we are on timing in the agenda. The Community Engagement Committee was able to give feedback to staff on the BHP website redesign. Good substantive conversation there. I think particularly we're looking to drive website visitors to calls to action, right? Like to Brad's point, like now that we have a plan, let's move to action, right? So that's the focus of primarily the feedback for the new site design. I do want to hop in the Wayback Machine and go back to, I think it was the April council meeting where there was discussion about rebranding the entire Blue Horizons project. And we want everybody to know that we heard loud and clear that there is not appetite for a full rebrand, and acknowledge kind of the lift associated with doing so and the loss of momentum already achieved. I think one of the things that came up as a result of the website update was the idea of updating the Blue Horizons project logo to be more consistent with GHB and Energy Savers, and to help people understand through a consistent logo kind of a little bit more intuitively about the mission. So we're looking at logo update. I think we have some resources on staff who can help and who have some specific expertise. We had some great input, including some fantastic crayon drawings to help inform what a new logo design could look like. But more to come there. But that's where we stand. That was a substantive item from last meeting. Secondly, and actually this didn't make it onto the agenda, but note at the bottom of today's council meeting agenda, we have the, I think we're calling it the megawatt dashboard. Again, filed under moving us to action. We wanted to give everybody an ongoing sense of what we're accomplishing and the road to come. And so I think, this will probably be an iterative sort of thing that we'll look at, but we wanted to start noting, successes and the accomplishments that we've made in a quantitative form. And again, showing the breadth of the roadmap that remains. And we want to make sure that we do so in a way that is, substantively based in data and is not overwhelming or discouraging, but that does give a real true sense for both what was accomplished and what remains. So look for that to continue to persist and to iterate and to grow. And then finally, wanted to put out a call for to see if there's anybody interested in doing kind of educational resources for GHB. And Jamie, that was new to me. Do you have anything you would add to that?
Not off the top of my head. My mind is.
Then with that, I yield.
Really exciting. The megawatt dashboard. I think there was a big cry for that at our last meeting. So excited to see that you all are on it. Thank you. Thank you.
I guess on that piece though, is it doesn't have the stuff we want on it. So take a look at it, give some feedback to the committee. We'll rework it with data that if you want it to be different.
Thanks, all.
Okay. Does anybody have any announcements? Anything going on? Any events we should know about?
Energy Savers
about to have a baby.
Wait, what?
That Sam's about to have a baby. We already know that. I'm just excited about it.
Is somebody going to mention the Energy Savers Network volunteer get together?
Go on.
That's
what day is it?
It is on Friday.
It's
what
Friday.
What time is it?
It's 5 to 8 p.m. at Highwire in the River Arts District. And you can RSVP on the brand new Greenbelt website that Steffi just launched. So you guys are welcome to come.
5 to 8. I think it does free beer. 1 free beer.
All right.
I'll just real quickly, Greenbelt Alliance, we just launched a new website. So please check it out. It's super duper improved from our previous one. It's got a ton of great resources on it. So when you get a chance, go check out our new website.
Nice. The next item is review of action items. I think the only one was me sending out a doodle for the policy task force. Any other action items?
I
Other than
have a
it's
small one I can follow up with later because it's not super pressing, but with us trying to redo the BHP website this fiscal year, we would like to add council members headshots and a little bio. So if you have a headshot and bio readily available, you can go ahead and send that to me. We can talk more about that later too if we want it to be different.
nice. We can do that.
Jamie, do you want review of the dashboard to be an action item?
Yeah, I want to make sure it's the right data. So if y'all think it's not, then that's what I want to do. Otherwise, I'll keep doing this and we'll just let it evolve on its own. But if you think we're on the wrong direction, let me know. I'm working with NCSCA on using their data that they pull from Duke Energy.
So the right types of data. You want to make sure that we have the right buckets of data.
Yeah, like interconnectivity, solar data. I don't really know where to get energy efficiency data. So if y'all have information about that, that would help. We can use our own, but maybe this is a Duke question. But yeah, that's it. That's the work on the dashboard, I think.
Yeah, just on the dashboard, talk to me, Jamie. Our goal is renewable energy, and I looking at this snapshot from the dashboard, we've got expressed in solar gigawatts, which is not our goal. Our goal is 100% of renewable energy, not 100% of capacity.
You should come and have coffee with me and talk me into changing the dashboard.
Yeah, well, it may take some time because it really gets into the whole problem we mentioned in the strategic plan about the data not being updated. We don't have the updated Duke data for how much energy we consume in the region just from Duke. We just certainly don't have it from Dominion on natural gas, and the other data, was estimated anyway, and that has to be re-estimated as we go forth in time in order to from the basis of the strategic plan, have an ongoing snapshot of where we are. It's a whole, it's something we need to do now that we've got this plan done. It's probably something we put on our list to work on.
Come over, let's whiteboard it together.
Okay.
All right. Without further ado, I think that's the agenda. Thank you everybody for being here. Enjoy the next month. We are going to meet in August, right? We are, or we are not, I guess. Should we take a month off, everyone? I was going to say no because we were going to pass this plan, but we already did that. So should we take a month off?
That's a good thing to add to the agenda.
I mean, Sam's going to take a month off at least.
Unless funding needs to be addressed more quickly, there needs to be more conversations about that. That's the only thing I would think of.
Carbon emissions don't take the month off.
They don't. All right, I'm going to put out a call for agenda items, and if I don't get any agenda items, we may cancel the next meeting.
Copy.
All right, thanks everybody. Enjoy your summer. Bye.
Bye.